This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Mike Whitlow, the COO of ECR Minerals, following news from the ongoing drilling at Creswick. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Mike. Of course, this drilling, you've got 7 holes there with evidence of anomalous gold from the RNS this morning. So give us your thoughts on this, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great update. It's a good start to our campaign in Creswick. And of course, we've got a fair bit of news to come and ongoing operations. But yeah, a great sort of first few runs up on the board, and we're happy and we're hopeful moving forward. It's extremely encouraging. We've got a 23.3 grams a ton as our sort of best headline reported intercept. And I think, Mark, it's important really for investors to try and understand a little bit about the gold in Victoria, and particularly around the Creswick area. It's nuggety, and therefore when samples go in and we leach the 23.3 gram sample, we got 4.7 grams came from that sort of leaching process. Then we went with the fireside assay result, which then actually took it from 4.7 to 23.3 grams. So the message that we're trying to get out there is when processing samples from drilling, there's a bit more in it and required, and therefore it's important to understand that nuggety gold doesn't lift from the process, particularly easy. Given the size, if it was powdery, granular, it would be much easier. So there's a bit of work that needs to go into it, and of course we're conscious and cognizant when we put these initial samples in that are about 1 kilo to 2 kilos. In fact, the 2 kilos are split into 2 times 1 kilo samples. Given the nature of coarse nuggety gold, within that bulk sample, there could well be quite a substantial amount of gold. So we use the initial data, the initial results to get an idea of the zones and depths that are of interest to us. And then we prepare the bulk samples, and we've been putting some data and footage out in order for shareholders to get a look at the process. And we'll submit, or we already have submitted those samples, and we expect to update the market again very shortly. And given the fact that we've sort of announced gold in all of the holes, and of course we've got visible gold in the bags, there's a strong possibility that we can improve on the results we've already put out today. But we must caution people to sort of stand patiently by the beds and just wait for the full analysis, so we can give an unbiased and reasoned set of results. And I appreciate I've gone on a little bit there, but that was a key sort of message I wanted to get out there to the market.
Can you just explain, Mike, a little bit? You mentioned there about the 4.7 grams from leaching, but of course then there's the fire assay giving you 23.9. Could you explain the difference there a little bit for me?
Yeah, of course, Mark. I mean, I'm not a geologist, so for the technical guys in the world who sort of yawn and go, "Goof, here comes the chief operator." Look, what happened here is because we're working with a very coarse gold, nuggety gold around the Creswick region, that initial sample would have gone through a leaching process, I think, for 24 hours. And we lifted 4.7 grams from that sample. But when it went to fireside assay, the result went up quite substantially. And that's simply because the first initial process, given how coarse the gold is and nuggety, the leaching process couldn't extract the gold. It needed extreme heat in order to be able to achieve that. And of course, we found that the sample was substantially larger. So what we learn about this is because of this coarse nuggety gold that we're working with, it's really important that we can get the very, very best out of our sampling process, and then of course go back to the rest of the bulk sample and actually process that too, because there's a high probability that we'll find more gold. And of course, in the recent sort of pan concentrate footage that we've put out there, we can see it as well. I'm careful at this point just to caution that investors should wait for all of the results to come out for us to get a full and proper picture of the recent drilling campaign at Davy Road. But it's a great start, and we're really pleased.
No, that's very good. And I picked up something you said there, that your expectation was that any gold will be both coarse and confined within narrow veins. And you say that these preliminary results are indeed supporting that assumption. So that's obviously a good thing, isn't it? That what you expect is actually happening. And this will help form a better understanding of the geology here and potentially how to follow these veins to get to something that's commercial.
Absolutely. And I think, we're not the only company that are operating this way. We are not the only people that are working with, sort of narrow vein, coarse, nuggety gold. Lots of our peers out there have endeavors are very similar to ours. We want to get the messaging out there so people understand how to interpret these results and the process that we're going through. And we think it's important to illustrate and demonstrate that, which is why we've been providing some footage for shareholders to understand some of the work that we actually get through. And actually, it kind of showcases the facility that we've got in Victoria and the team. We made a recent announcement of the change to board of directors to allow Adam to focus more on the day-to-day operations and his geological responsibilities. And those guys are working incredibly hard at the moment. They've really got the shoulder to the wheel, and we're ultimately grateful for that. And we hope that this extra bit of time now that Adam's got away from perhaps some of the corporate responsibilities allow us to get the absolute very best for shareholders. And if we want to build a commercial operation and a bigger company and really put into an impetus on the ambition that Nick and I and the wider board have got, then that was a necessary change.
Okay, excellent. And just thinking of what's to come in the near-term future, does this conclude these 7 holes? Does this conclude phase 1? Are you looking to start phase 2?
Operations are ongoing. Activities are underway at Cuboid Hill. There's a process to go through. We need to prepare the ground, get the drilling rig in, start the drilling, and get some results out. And then we'll go again through this 2-phase process of announcing results. So we've got bulk samples to come from Davy Road. We've got initial drilling results from Cuboid Hill, followed by the bulks. And of course, we've had Nick out in Australia recently, and he didn't go over there just to chew the fat with the team. So there's a lot of different, things that are ongoing at the moment. Unfortunately, we can't talk about all of the things that the market would want. And, we do observe some of the public commentary at times. And there's nothing more frustrating than things not coming as quickly as people would like and hope. But we are absolutely working as tirelessly as possible in order to get, to deliver on some of the, suggestions that we made early on, and that was to dispose of non-core assets and develop the core assets that we've got and look at being able to scale this business up. We're not wanting to build a £5 million or £10 million company. We've got big ambitions, and we'd like to build something with a bit more substance. And, if you want to take this company to 25, 50, you need to build up a really strong team. You've got to be dynamic. You've got to be hardworking, and you've got to be able to process these things.
Well, thank you very much, Mike Whitlow, the COO of ECR Minerals, for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure, Mark, and hopefully we'll be back on speaking to shareholders with a little bit more good news. But as I say, no guarantees. Let's wait and see what comes from it, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.